Hi, doing day 212 and 213. And within this, I'm looking at the point of self-acceptance still within the point of life and death. And specifically really looking at death and what it is to me and why I've created this fear around it. And I was watching, what brought this up is I was watching the series 6 Feet Under, and it's all about death, and it kind of not sensationalizes it, but makes it like entertaining kind of, and like something that looks interesting. But obviously death is the death of life, and it's not something that's wanted within most life forms, but for now it's here and it exists. I was also looking at the fear that I hold on to based on, fearing the death of myself, fearing the death of people I know, and having to face that point of, fear within them suffering and me suffering. And, I realized the point that there's no reason to sit and be in this fear and kind of be in this depression state and sorrow state, because I'm not dead. Like, we are alive. We have the opportunity here to live and, make the best of what's here and make the best of ourselves. So, realizing this point is, really a cool key point to live within yourself and live within myself, to not get wrapped up in fear and, all these thoughts that can go through your head about what death is going to be like, and if it's going to be painful, and fearing it and all those points, because it's not here. We're alive here, so there's really no point to go into that fear. I mean, it just wastes time, and it just causes an emotional reaction within you, and it's not worth it, because in the end you're going to be the same. Death is still here, and you just went through a whole time loop, time lapse of fear and angst and sorrow and depression. I see this within myself too, of course, and it's just a waste of time, when during that time I could be working towards solutions to a lot of the suffering and death that is here in this world, which is mainly based on people that don't have enough resources to live. So there's many avenues and many ways and solutions to support and investigate to alleviate and diminish death here and suffering. I mean, if you look around in this world, there's so much suffering everywhere, and if you, study it and go down to the root of it, it's always usually because of not enough resources, people trying to get things from other people, causing suffering and abuse towards them to get, the resources that they need. They can't pay for it, so they're going to take it. And, just create the system creating that kind of mentality here, and that kind of living of stealing and abuse, and, just creating that way of living based on how we live in ourselves and how we conduct ourselves in this society. With the principle of our system now, the capitalist system, is some win and some lose, and it's like a survival point and a survival of the fittest, and there's always going to be that conflict and battle between people that's going to in the end cause a lot of suffering to people, because a lot of people in the system, as we see, don't win. And when you don't win, the end result is usually suffering and death, young death, a painful death, and it's not necessary. I mean, obviously we know that death within this world, within life, is here. We can't change that at the moment. I realize that death is something that we can transcend. It's not impossible as we tend to believe. There's support out there if you're interested on the Desteni site. You know, I've been studying it for a few years now, and I've definitely come across a few articles on death and what it is and how we create death within ourselves. And you can go on the site, the links are below in this video, and check out. I'll put some series on as well in this description to help you kind of link into the understanding of death, really, because there is an understanding to it. There is there's mechanics and reasons behind it that are factual. So I suggest support yourself in that understanding, because it's cool realization and it helps you, understand it, and thus the fear is transcended because you know it. You realize what death is, and you live with it. So those are some cool points. Forgiveness, I did. Just stop reactions, stop being in my mind thinking about it, stop wasting time. And some cool commitment statements that I've kind of implemented and realized within myself is to speak specific statements to myself, like, Garb, no, don't go into this thought. It's not worth it. It's only going to lead you to consequence and reacting in emotions of anger towards this person. So breathe, let it go, and walk away or move on, or focus on what I'm doing in that moment. So speaking really helps you, get yourself into it, because you're physically doing it, you're physically speaking it, and you obviously have to be here to formulate the words and speak it. So that's a cool point. So life and death is a cycle that is here, and I accept myself within it. I realize the points I have to walk to correct it, and I realize that life essentially doesn't need to die, but we need to correct ourselves to live within the physical laws that are here, that we need to align to, which is oneness, equality of all life, of everything, and adjust and adapt to the changing world, the changing nature, and use common sense, self-honesty, of course, to change yourself when you see that it's time to change. Correct yourself when you see it's time to correct myself. And follow the laws of the physical world, because we're here physical, in the physical world, and it's kind of common sense to do. And obviously stop your mind. Stop being directed by the thoughts, the memories, the emotions, feelings, and walk the process to live here in the physical, in your breath, as you're breathing, breath by breath, living. And align yourself to the principles of life, equality and oneness, and making a world that is best for all. Alright, thanks for listening. And I do try to make these videos shorter, but I don't know. I just like to talk, I guess. Anyways, see you tomorrow or next time. Thank you.